Alchi Monastery or Alchi Gompa is a Buddhist monastery, known more as a monastic complex of temples in Alchi village in the Leh district of the Indian state under the Ladakh Autonomous Hill Development Council of Jammu and Kashmir. The complex comprises 4 separate settlements in the Alchi village in the lower Ladakh region with monuments dated to different periods. Of these 4 hamlets, Alchi Monastery is said to be the oldest and most famous. It is administered by the Likir Monastery. Alchi is also part of the 3 villages which constitute the Alchi group of monuments. The other 2 villages adjoining Alchi are the Mangu and Samdechun. The monuments in these 3 villages are stated to be of unique style and workmanship, but the Alchi Monastic Complex is the best known. The monastery complex was built, according to local tradition, by the great translator Guru Rinchen Zangpo between 958 and 1055. However, inscriptions in the preserved monuments ascribe it to a Tibetan noble called Kaldan Shes Rab. Later in the 11th century, Dukang or assembly hall and the main temple, which is a 3-story temple called the Sumtsek, are built in Kashmiri style as seen in many monasteries. The 3rd temple is called the Manjushri Temple. Jordans are also an important part of the complex. The artistic and spiritual details of both Buddhism and the Hindu kings of that time in Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh are reflected in the wall paintings in the monastery. These are some of the oldest surviving paintings in Ladakh. The complex also has huge statues of the Buddha and elaborate wood carvings and artwork comparable to the Baroque style. Shakti Mehra has vividly explained the beauty of this small monastery. History. The history of the monuments in the Alchi complex and in the other 2 villages in the Alchi group is not precise, in spite of many inscriptions and texts displayed on the walls. Traditionally, the creation of the Alchi complex is attributed to the famous scholar translator Rinchen Zangpo in the 10th century, along with the Lamayura Monastery, the Wanda, the Mangjiwayu and the Sumda. During the 10th century, the Tibetan king Yeshodhavgosha, in order to spread Buddhism in the Trans-Himalayan region, took the initiative by allocating 21 scholars to the region. However, due to harsh climatic and topographic conditions, only 2 survive. One of them the esteemed scholar and translator Rinchen Zangpo, who established Buddhist activity in the Ladakh region and other areas of India, including Himachal Pradesh and Sikkim. During his sojourn there, he also went to the neighboring countries of Nepal, Bhutan and Tibet. Zangpo became known by the epithet Lotsawa, or the Great Translator. He is credited with building 108 monasteries in the Trans-Himalayan region. In his quest to disseminate Buddhism, he institutionalized Buddhism in the region. These monasteries are considered the mainstay of Vajrayana of Tibetan Buddhism. Zangpo engaged Kashmiri artists to create wall paintings and sculptures in the legendary 108 monasteries. Only a few of these have survived, with the Alchi Monastery complex in Ladakh having pride of place among all monasteries that he built. Since the monasteries of this period did not belong to any of the established Tibetan schools, they were initially brought under the control of the Kadampa order. When the condition of the monasteries deteriorated, they were mostly taken over by the Gelugpa order, with the exception of Lamayuru, which was placed under the Drigungpa sect. After worship at Alchi Monastery ceased for some reason in the 15th century, it also became under the Gelugpa sect controlled from Likir. Geography and visitor information. Alchi is located on the south bank of the Indus River at an altitude of 3,100 meters and 65 kilometers outside of Leh. Leh is connected by air from Delhi. A road approach to Leh starts at Manali, a route that is accessible from May or June to October, depending on the snowfall conditions in the valley. The village is in the high-altitude rain-shadow area of Ladakh. It is laid out in 4 settlements on the banks of a tributary of the Indus River. The monastic complex is separate from the other village settlements' structures. The monastery complex has 3 major shrines: the Dukhang, the Sumtseg and the Temple of Manjushri, all dating from between the early 12th and early 13th centuries. Chordans are also an important part of the complex. In addition, the Alchi complex has 2 other important temples: the Translator's Temple called the Lotsaba Lakhang, and a new temple called the Lakhang Soma. This collection of 4 small shrines in the Alchi village has been described by the Hindu as a jewel of colors and forms that is so utterly beautiful that the normal state of breathlessness in this high altitude becomes a deep gasp. The artistic and spiritual details of both Buddhism and the Hindu kings of that time in Kashmir are reflected in the wall paintings in the monastery complex. These are some of the oldest surviving paintings in Ladakh. The complex also has huge statues of the Buddha and lavish wood carvings and artwork, almost Baroque in style. Shakti Mayra vividly explains the beauty of this small monastery as stylistically rendered in an eclectic mix of Tibetan and Kashmiri faces and clothes. Dukhang at the assembly hall is at the heart of the monastery complex, where monks perform worship and ceremonies. It is large and ancient, and the original wooden door frame is retained. Many additions were made to the ancient structure during the 12th and 13th centuries. The colonnaded veranda leads to the hall from a front courtyard, and frescoes of 1,000 Buddhas are depicted in the passageway. The Wheel of Life and Mahakal can be seen at the outer gate. The walls of the Dukhang, dedicated to Panchtathagatas, are painted with 6 different mandalas that surround the Vairachana, the main deity worshipped in the hall. The mandalas are set among by many paintings of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, goddesses, fierce divinities and guardians of Dharma, and also lesser divinities. Sumtseg. The Alchi Sumtseg in the Alchi complex is one of the most outstanding, but its purpose is not clearly established. The Sumtseg means a 3-storied building, though small, was built with loam natural stone in the Tibetan building tradition. However, the luxuriant woodwork, columns, facades, walls, clay images and paintings in the interior of the monastery were made by Kashmiri artists. The sanctum in the ground floor and the first floor measures 5.4 meters x 5.8 meters with the niches of 2.1 to 2.7 meters width and 4 meters height. The niches depict the main images of 3 bodhisattvas in height and its associate secondary deities with 2 flying goddesses in each niche. Except for the main wooden door on the top floor, which is dilapidated, the rest of the Sumtseg is well preserved in its original form, as built in the early 13th century. The second floor of the building is more in the form of a balcony with a lantern mounting. Image of Maitreya, the largest in size, is deified on the back wall and flanked by the images of Avalokiteshvara to its right and Manjushri to its left. An interesting aspect of the elegant drapery worn by the deities is the display of different themes printed in different textile patterns. Maitreya's dhoti depicts the life of Buddha. The Avalokiteshvara's dhoti shows holy places and royal palaces, and Manjushri's dhoti has adepts printed on it. Iconographically, the deities have a single head with 4 arms but differently portrayed. Each deity is identified to a different Buddha. Maitreya has a 5 Buddha crown representing Vairachana. Avalokiteshvara's crown represents Amitabha and Manjushri's crown represents Akshobhya. An inscription in the main niche states that the three images are reliquaries representing body, speech and mind compared to the three bodies of the Buddha, namely, Maitreya denoting the Buddha body of reality, Avalokiteshvara representing pure rapture, and Manjushri representing emanational body. In simple terms, they represent the Buddhist concepts of compassion, hope and wisdom. Further, depiction of Buddha's life in textile prints on the dhoti is a unique representation of the cycle of the life of Buddha that is arranged in a reverse sequence. It is in medallion form painted red, with each medallion measuring 15 centimeters over a blue background. 48 scenes representing 41 episodes with 5 preaching scenes and 2 scenes of Punanirvana. All are arranged in predetermined sequence, representing the events in Buddha's life between the last journey in Tashi to heaven and the first sermon in Sanit. Dating of the Samtseg has been made on the basis of the names of the priests inscribed on the top floor of the structure. The last name inscribed is that of the Drigangpa school of Drigangpa Ajigtan Gompa, from which it is inferred that Samsteg was established in the early 13th century. Manjushri Temple. From various analysis of the iconography of the temple compared with that of the Samtseg and Sumda Assembly Hall, it has been inferred that the temple dates to around 1225 AD. Manjushri Temple, also called Jampalakang, is built around the 4 central images of Manjushri seen on a common platform that is 5.7 meters square. 4 pillars form the enclosure for the images. The pillars are supported with cross-bracing connected to the painted wood ceiling. The paintings on the wooden ceiling are similar to those in the Samtseg and the 2 Chortans, but are unrefined. Located close to the Indus River, the temple is not well preserved except for wood carvings on the doors and pillars. The Lotsavara Lotawa temple to its left side is a later addition. The Manjushri images are on a common pedestal high, painted recently to give an overall picture of fright, since the decorative scrolls are derived from the tales of Makara, surrounded by images of animals, gods and symbols. The normal color attributed to Manjushri images is orange, but in this temple they are depicted with different colors. Each of the 4 images is single-headed with 4 arms that are adorned with a sword, a book on top of a lotus, a bow and an arrow. Each wall in the shrine is dedicated to a Buddha image. Manjushri is depicted on the main wall, seated on a lion throne. The side walls have images of Amitabha on the right and Aksharabhya on the left. The images are set around the central image of Manjushri in a niche in the wall. Manjushri is adorned with jewelry and a crown made of a flower band. In the base of the throne on which the Manjushri image is deified, is a depiction of 7 jewels and 8 suspicious symbols enclosed in a square frame that is distinctive. The top of the throne frame has Makara mountings. Chortans, the earliest recorded Chortans of the Great Chortan and the Small Chortan to the early 13th century. Following the building of the Samtseg, these Chortans are decorated gateways known locally as Karkani Chortan and Karkani Makadati that are considered unique to Alchi with historical link to other monuments. More Chortans were added between the 13th and 14th centuries. In the Alchi complex there are also 3 other Chortans, which have ancient paintings. Bibliography.